All right. I want to talk to you today about the awakening of the soul, how to awaken your spirit. It's almost like living knowing what the end will be. So there are moments in your life that a person is going to will come to a screeching halt. It's going to stop. Not from an external thing, but rather something internally. Time would continue going. Time always flies. Time goes, and the world keeps on its thing. Like you think that the world is going to stand for a moment of silence once you hit 6 feet under. Nothing. You're going to hear terrible news. The world is going to keep on going, and then it's going to be like, I don't understand. Doctor just told me I'm about to die, and everybody else is like, yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. But so that moment comes, something inside will ask you a question. If this, for example, would have been come to an end, or if my life would have come to an end right now, my life will come to an end. Was I ever alive? Did I really live life? The Kabbalah teaches us that this question is not a question necessarily of fear, but rather a question of seeking the truth. The Neshama, the soul, is not afraid of the end. The Neshama is scared from life that were not fulfilled, for potential of life that was never tapped to. Most people live their life like time is, they take it for granted. Basically, they take it for granted. They take time for granted. Like somebody comes up and guarantees you that tomorrow, you're still going to be here. You're guaranteed to be here tomorrow. And when you do so, when you live like that, life gets pushed away. Life gets pushed away. Love gets pushed away. And so is the truth gets pushed away. But when a person finds a boundary, all of a sudden has to face a boundary, even if it's an ideal, something of a thought, like an idea of a boundary, then you're going to wake up. If things later on come to be okay, you kind of tend to forget. But we'll try to maybe not, give you the skills or at least the idea of how not to do it. So let's talk about a few subjects. So first of all, we have to talk about breaking the illusion of control. People are very much possessed by control. And most of the people who are controlling people are those people who experience internally lack of control about themselves. Therefore, to satisfy this need of control, they try to control others. So the first awakening that a person would have to come to realize is as a very simple and plain understanding. There is no full control. Not on your body, not on time, not on the results. Nothing. You cannot control your body. You can't. You can't control the process of aging. You can't control what will happen internally inside of you. You cannot control. Even your own body you can't control. As soon as the person stops clinching on to the need of control, then you're allowed to let the light in. Because the light cannot penetrate to a place that is already occupied. A person who is willing to let go would find out courage that he didn't know that he has within himself. Not the courage of power and strength and external, but rather courage of agreeing to live truthful life. To agree to live truthful life. And that's a very, very powerful resource that you need to tap in. It's inside of you. You just cover it with the obsessive need to control. I mean, we are basically control freaks. Again, because we are so not in control. You want to get in control over your life? Stop trying to control everything else. Let live truthfully. The next idea is what I will call internal elevation. After the initial release of letting go comes the real work.
What? Internal evaluation?
No, elevation. Elevation, yeah. So it's not escape. It's not escaping from the world. It's not trying to go to, excuse me, to a mountain or to hide in a cave and so on and so forth, but rather a constant climb into life itself. In other words, you start to touch what is called your life. A person starts to ask himself the question, how do I go from here one step higher? You need to understand that you need to make sure that you're going up higher, even it's one step at a time. You don't need to jump 2-3 steps at a time. One step at a time. But to stay, when you stay in one stage and you don't grow and develop from it, what happens is, since life is always moving, you always go behind. You can't tell yourself, when you tell me I'm okay at where I am right now, means that you are going backwards. Your statement right now indicates that you're going backwards, because life goes forward. Life does not go backwards. When you stay in one place, life passes you around. That's what Chazal tell us. Ta'azvenu yom, yazveka yomayim. You live it one day, it leaves you for 2 days. Why is that? I only left it for 1 day. Yeah, but one day that you didn't go along with it, you stayed here, you already went. Now in order to catch for it, you need to go 2 days, and you don't have it. The Gemara is full of stories of rabbis that this one took a break, the other one took a break, and then he could never reach in the rest of his life. It's a fact. A person needs to ask himself, how do I live less on a automatic, like an automatic pilot? How do I live less programmed like this and more live my life through a choice? Do I actually make choices in my life? Real, my choices, not choices that somebody else told me that that's what I should be doing. How do I stop acting from fear and start acting from value? What gives value to my life? And that is true many times to the job that you take, or to what you learn in college, or who you're marrying, and so on and so forth. Most of the thing is some kind of a fear, whether it's what people would say or what will happen, and so on, but not really what gives value to your life. If you won't define what's valuable in your life, how do you think that your life will be valuable? They are not. That's why you keep on wasting them. You don't care. That's why you're going on self-destruction all the time, because there's no value to your life. There's no meaning. This is a very slow process. It's a very challenging process. But every step that you will take will transform you, will change you, will transform you. The Kabbalah says any internal elevation, going up, not only brings the person up, but the whole entire world together with him. In other words, your people around you, the world around you. Any step that you take to become better, the world around you becomes better. So if you look around and you see that the world is terrible, you need to understand that part of it is it's your responsibility. It's your fault. You did it also. You need to understand that. Stop blaming everybody else. It's you also, just as guilty. So now, how do we go from this, how do we get this into work? So one thing we need to do, and this is something that we all fail all the time. And that's the reason why marriages fail, parent-child relationship fail. That's why our job doesn't work. That's why we become underachievers, and so on and so forth. It's called being present in the moment. Being present in the moment. When life starts to be so understood, so taken for granted, the background, or the moment, should I say, the moment becomes very precious, because you don't know what tomorrow. So I'm trying to take the best, to make the best out of this moment. I don't live anymore in the past, and I don't live anymore what will happen in the future. In other words, if I'm saying, when Mashiach comes, everything is going to be good. Right now, so I only think about this. How do you think Mashiach, salvation, is going to come if you're not doing anything for it? You don't want salvation to really be free. You want salvation so somebody else will do the work for you, so you could sit down under your tree and eat grapefruits all day, or eat grapes all day long. That's what you want. You want a vacation. You don't understand. Geula, free, means independence. And for independence, you got to work. You got to work to bring it, and while you're independent, you got to work. You cannot be independent and then depend on everybody else to give you something. A person who is free doesn't need handouts from government, doesn't need handouts from this one. He goes and do it. That's why not everybody can own a business, because most people don't want to hustle. They don't understand that mentality of, listen, I want to be free. I don't want to have a boss. Well, you got to be responsible about it. So being in that moment is very important. No, also not in the past. Oh, in the old country it was like this. In the shtetl it was like this. Back in the mountains, of the Ural mountains, it was like that. My great-grandfather was this. Stop with this. Stop with that. In other words, what you need to do, you need to be completely present in the moment in what it is now, with the now, this moment. This moment is the only place that the tikkun, the fix-up, is going to take place. Tikkun cannot be done in the past. Tikkun cannot be done in the future. The tikkun can only be done here and now. Right now. Right now, what are you doing? Right now, are you wasting time or you're not wasting time? Right now, you're listening to something that can actually help you and you're doing something about it, or you just got in your own world. And most people don't want to listen to this because most people don't want to fix. They're comfortable where they are. They don't care if life is actually going to be worthless as long as you don't make them work. People don't want to hear it. The tikkun is not going to happen yesterday, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. The soul, the neshama, the spirit lives now, in the here, in the now. And when a person is present, already his life is different. Because if you have, for example, 5 minutes a day with your wife, but you give her this full 5 minutes, and in this 5 minutes, I heard something very interesting. I forgot this name of this guy. He's like a big mentalist. What's his name? Pearlman. Pearlman is a big mentalist. He does all these tricks and so on and so forth, right? Like, for example, one of the things that will prevent you, by the way, being in a moment is your telephones. So I would tell you, put your telephones down. I mean, that's when you with something. I've seen a guy. His wife is talking to him, all right, and she goes like this. It's unbelievable. Pearlman said something which was fascinating. He says one time he was invited for an event, and he was supposed to do his magic trick and so on and so forth. But before him, Obama spoke. So Obama spoke and so on and so forth. What's his name? Barack Obama. The guy. So after that, everybody was going out to shake Obama's hand and so on. He says, how I'm going to capture the moment to try to make the most out of it. So he said, he came to Obama, and the beautiful thing about Barack Obama, it is something you should learn. He gave every person 15, 30 seconds, no more than that. But in that, let's say 30 seconds that he gave you, nobody else existed. You were just him. He gave you 30 seconds of complete attention. So Pearlman said, I have only 30 seconds to make an impression on Obama. How do I do it? So what would you, for example, what would you do? What would you say to President Obama, right, that would make an impression on him for him to give you more than 30 seconds? What would you do?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. What would you do?
Make a joke.
Make a joke?
So he laughs.
So he laughs, but it then didn't give you, you're not going to say, oh wow, crack me another joke. What would you say?
You probably have to catch his interest.
How? Any idea? You have an idea?
You don't give him any attention.
No, you don't give him attention, you don't get it. So let me tell you, okay, fine. Let me tell you what Pearlman did. What Pearlman did, he went to President Obama, he said, thank you for the gift. Now, if somebody will come and... what gift? So Obama said to him, what gift? So he said, from now on I can say, I was on a show and Obama was the opening act for me. Got his attention, he started talking. He got his attention, he started talking. Be present in the moment. Try to make, it doesn't make a difference if you have 30 seconds. But you gotta make the best out of this 30 seconds. Because that statement that this guy, Pearlman, said, for me was like, wow, this is amazing. Try to capitalize on every moment you have. People say, I need to spend time with my wife. You need to spend time with your wife. Absolutely right. But what's the quality that you spend time with your wife? What's the quality? Are you in those 3 hours that with your wife? How many times you went on the phone? How many times she went on the phone? How many times she was talking to you, your mind drifted? You might as well give your wife 30 seconds of complete, undisturbed, full attention that would make her wow, than 3 hours when you are not there. You're physically there, spiritually you're not there. There is the quality of the time. You need to say, are you tapping into the full capacity of the time that is given to you? The answer is, to 99.999% of the time, is not. You fail on that. So basically you are what? Wasting time. Time is a commodity that you could not replace. You only lose time. So how are you going to make the best out of it? Well, when you're in something, you do the 110%, not 100%, 110% to do it. You need to make a thing that the guy will, oh wow, like Pearlman did. Oh, I can always say that Obama was an opening act for me. That's unbelievable. That's a genius guy. Why? Because he tapped in to the full capacity of the moment. He has only 30 seconds. If I'll give you 3 hours, you won't come up with such a simple idea. This guy is brilliant. Brilliant. It's something for you to learn. You need to learn from us, Pearlman, and you need to learn from Obama. Yes, that's not a problem. I mean, if it's good, it's good. Who cares? Whether you agree with him politically or not, that's already your excuse why not to. You're going to find all excuses why not to. Learn to give people your undisturbed, complete, dedicated attention for the time you're there. Try to dedicate, you're doing something, 110% of your effort will go into this. It doesn't make a difference if you're learning Torah, or you're learning secular studies, if you're working, or even when you're resting. When you go to bed, don't take your telephone with you. You're not going to be saving the world. You are not going to get a call from the Kremlin on a red phone. Don't worry. Go to sleep. Leave your phone downstairs. Somebody needs you so badly, call 911. That's it. I put my phone, I had enough of this. I put my phone, I think it's like whatever, 10 o'clock or something like this, on Do Not Disturb. I don't get it. So people call me like this many times. I don't get it. I don't get it. Because it doesn't ring on my phone. Somebody called me yesterday because I was on my computer working. I was preparing this. 11:24 at night. I see on the thing, the telephone. I said, I didn't answer. What was it about? Then he sent me a text, something stupid from Instagram. He sent it to me. You're like, That's what I'm saying. Be in the moment. Whatever you do, in the moment. Don't drift. Don't drift. You want to succeed? That's how it is. You want to have meaning in what you do? That's what it is. You're going on a date with a girl, a guy, whatever it is. Give them your undisturbed attention, full attention. You wonder why there is a shidduch crisis, because the guy is somewhere else thinking about what the girl that he dated, the girl he was going to date. He's not in the moment. The girl tells him, I'm sorry, I don't want to date you anymore. And so is the other way around. Learn how to do so. Especially when one day, B'ezrat Hashem, you're going to have kids. You got to give your kid your undisturbed, full attention every time you are with them. It's not about being all the time with your kids. It's when you are with your kids, be with your kids, not with somebody else. That's a big problem. And by the way, that's what we learned 2 days ago, when we were talking, actually yesterday, we learned it in the Shulchan Aruch, where we were talking about, you are with somebody, be with someone, don't think about anybody else. That's exactly it. This is exactly it. Yeah. So, how do we actually get to the heart of the changes? How do we have what to do, what's so-called tikkun amidot, fix our qualities inside. The real clear sign for true internal awakening is not an external change. Oh wow, you lost weight. That's not to do with that. But rather a change in the attitude that we have towards people. We don't want to be bothered. We don't want to be bothered with people. You don't want to give a person the time of the day. We're very arrogant and very like push away people. You know, maybe we're good salesmen for certain things, but most of the people we don't care about. When you change your attitude towards people, again, could be strangers, it could be your wife, could be your children. One thing for sure will happen, love will become deeper. You're going to speak softer to people. You're going to be more precise with what you're saying. You're going to say words that need to be able to penetrate through and through. Just like this guy Oz Pearlman said. That's exactly what it is. You'll be able to forgive people. Maybe a forgiveness that was delayed for years. And once you realize this, forgiving people, it's not a luxury anymore, but rather a necessity. Why forgiving people is a necessity? Because the Kabbalah teaches us that forgiving, I forgive you, is not giving up. I'm not, okay, it's okay, I let go, I forgive. Or giving up on the concept of justice, whether you did wrong or you didn't do wrong to me. So, for example, if Chas v'Shalom, you did something wrong to me and I forgive you, it doesn't mean that what you did was right. I forgive the act, but I'm not saying what you did was the right thing to do. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But rather, it's forgiving is letting go, letting your soul go free from the chains that it's being held to, right? A person who is not willing to forgive is a person who stays tied and bound to the person he actually hates. Let go. Let go. And a person who is forgiving, is able to forgive, is a free person. I forgive you, I'm free. I forgive you, whatever happened, you did what you did, I forgive you, I'm breaking free. So it's foolish not to. That's what the Torah comes and tells us. Before you go to sleep. Why before you go to sleep? Because you don't know. Nobody signed you a contract, guarantee you're going to get up in the morning. Nobody. So before you go to sleep, what do? You do vidu, and you say, Areni Soleach, I forgive everybody that did anything to me, and so on and so forth. Why? So at least when you go, you'll be free. Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's the act of slicha, mochel to everybody. Going back to being present on close relationship, right? When a person who is awakened is not looking to become, you're not looking to become perfect. No. You can never be the perfect father. You cannot be the perfect husband. Perfect is not something that humans can attain, could achieve. But what you are saying that, right? When you awaken, you're looking to become, instead of perfect, you're looking to become present. You're looking to become present. Present as a spouse, present as a friend, when you go with your friends, the same thing. Present as a father, or as a parent, present as a child. Present as a person, to any person that you meet in the street. There's no such thing as, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you now. Or, I'm sorry, I have priorities, and so on and so forth. Right? Even the small things, even small little things, like a conversation, like listening, like mutual silence. When you sit down and you're okay with the other person without having words, get an eternal value when you pay attention like this. Eternal value that you could tell your wife all the love songs of the world that will mean nothing, like a harmonious silence that you are sitting next to her and you're feeling perfect. That if you cannot feel comfortable with silence with the other person, means something is off there. Means something is off. If you need to talk all the time, something is wrong with your relationship. You need to take a deeper look into that to see what's going on. Another thing is, once you start to wake up, is to have a new outlook on life. You need to look at life differently. When a person is there to ask, if I would have started from the beginning, what would I have done different? What would I have done different? You're not asking to go back. I'm not saying, okay, bring me back on time. But I'm trying to take the wisdom in which I gained throughout the years to the present, to the now, so I would not make it. That's a moment when you ask yourself this question. That's a moment of what we call cheshbon hanefesh, doing a self-evaluation or evaluation of the self, not from guilt, but rather from honesty. And that's something that is so difficult for us to reach. We demand everybody to be honest with us, but we are never demanding for ourselves to be honest with ourselves. And that honesty is actually the key that helps you open the gate. If you don't have this level of honesty with yourself, the gate is going to always be forever closed. You need to understand that basically time is a gift. When a person understands that time is not to be taken for granted, every day becomes a gift. Every day becomes a present. It's not something that you have the luxury to waste, but rather that's something that you need to fulfill. Is the day is given to you and you need to fulfill it with meaning, with positive action, with tikkun, with fixing things up, with making this place better. In the Kabbalah it says, time is the vessel and the light is the way in which we live time. Light in your life is what do you make out of your life? What do you make in those moments, or in whatever we call the time? What do you fill the time with? That's called the light. The time is just a vessel for you to fill in. You better fill up with something meaningful. Otherwise, you're wasting time. You're wasting resources. You're very conscientious about recycling, about cleaning your front lawn, about doing this, about dressing up nicely, and so on and so forth. But you are absolutely wasteful when it comes to time. So when a person wakes up and has this awakening, does not live from fear about what will happen in the end. In other words, he's not afraid to die. As they said about the Baba Saleh, when he's about to die, he came to his son. His son said to him, he's crying. So Baba Saleh said to him, well, why are you crying? Why are you crying? He says, well, I'm going to lose you. He said, no, listen, there's nothing to do. That's life. Everything comes to an end. The Baba Saleh was not crying that he's dying. He said, that's the most natural thing to do. After you were born, that actually it's more natural than being born is dying. When a person lives life through depth, in other words, he puts depth. That's why I keep saying to you all the time: don't engage into shallow activities and shallow thrills, or going to a beach resort to see things that you're not supposed to be seeing, or to go to places like this. These are very shallow activities. Look for depth in your life. I told you, one of the most beautiful things I think in Japanese culture is the expression of Ichi-go, Ichi-e, which means one meeting, one time. In other words, the gathering of the people right now will never come back in the history of the world. So you gotta make the best out of it. I love that idea. How do you live in depth and you put meaningful things? Because you keep on telling to yourself, if today is my last day of my life, how am I going to live it? Truthfully, how am I going to live my life? Because if you do live like this, you already passed through internal death, and your soul is already starting to live. Now I'm going to tell you, listen to this maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and try to apply those things, not one at a time, all of it. Right now, because you don't know if there is a tomorrow. Have a beautiful, gorgeous, meaningful day.